Yo, what's going on guys, XpertFusion here, and Black Ops 4 Zombies is a mode that I defended a lot during its life cycle, and I still do to this day, because I never really thought it was that bad. I had some issues with some of the mechanics. Obviously the perk system I wasn't crazy about, but I also don't think the perk system necessarily ruined the experience. I don't like the point system either, because it kind of made a lot of different weapons like the SMGs completely useless. Some of the maps were kinda meh, like I don't like their Easter eggs, or there was something wrong with the bosses maybe being a little bit too overpowered or a little bit annoying in some aspects, but as a whole, Black Ops 4 Zombies is actually pretty damn good, and when I look back on it, I had a lot of fun playing it, doing the Easter eggs, especially on maps like 9, Ancient Evil, Alpha Omega, even Togger Toten at some points. Classified was a fun survival map. Dead of the Night is actually incredibly underrated. Voyage and Blood are the only two maps that I could kind of see why people don't love them, but I still don't think they're bad maps either. I don't really think any of the maps in Black Ops 4 should be called bad. But what I want to do today is compare Black Ops 4 Zombies to Cold War Zombies, because Cold War Zombies has gotten a lot more praise than Black Ops 4 Zombies for sure, and I don't think it deserves it. I'll be completely honest with you guys. I don't hate Cold War Zombies. I actually think the foundation of it is incredible. I think the mechanics are some of the best zombies mechanics we've ever actually had. But the map itself and the stuff within the mode, the content, the quantity, and even the quality of some of it is some of the worst we've ever seen in years. Now, obviously, it's more than we would get back in Black Ops 1 or World at War, because that was way back then. But compared to like Black Ops 3, Infinite Warfare, well, World War II, Black Ops 4, it is like nothing in comparison. And I wanted to compare it to Black Ops 4 because this is a game that probably got the most hate out of any zombies mode ever. I don't think if we were to take the general consensus of every single zombies player of all time, I don't think Black Ops 4 would be rated the lowest, like out of an average. But I think it's just gets the most hate because Black Ops games are more popular than like World War II and Infinite Warfare was. Therefore, less people played those games, less people played Advanced Warfare, like less people played the non-Treyarch zombies modes, basically. So those modes just got less hate because of that. And also, the more classic experiences like World at War and Black Ops 1, they get less hate simply because they're nostalgic. And of course, people don't like hating on those classic nostalgic things. I think way too many people focus just on how much fun they had within it, as opposed to looking at them in some sort of an objective way, even though there will always be subjectivity to your opinions, of course, but your reasons can be objective. I feel like most people, they look at it and they say, how much fun did I realistically have in that mode? But the problem with that is that fun can be factored by a million different things. You could have more fun on something because of something completely separate from the game. Like, for example, let's say you have a lot of friends during the Black Ops 3 time period, so you play with a lot more friends during Black Ops 3 Zombies, and you're having an absolute blast with it. Black Ops 4 comes around, all your friends aren't playing video games anymore, or they're just not playing COD anymore, so you're stuck playing by yourself, and you don't tend to have fun solo as much as you do with other people, so your enjoyment of Black Ops 4 is decreased because you're not playing with other people. Is that the game's fault that you don't have friends to play with? No, but your enjoyment of Black Ops 4 is now lowered, and you're now going to rate the game lower because of that. I think a lot of people do that, and I think that's why as time goes on, these games get more and more hate because we're all growing up, we're all getting older, and let's be real here, as you get older, you get less time to actually sit down and enjoy video games. You got more stuff on your mind, you're worried about the future more so, you're worried about your job or schoolwork or whatever it may be. Back in like 2010, when a lot of us who play COD were much younger, obviously ages, they range, obviously. There's some people in their 40s playing COD right now who are only like 30 when Black Ops 1 came out, but just for the general consensus of the community, a lot of people were much younger during Black Ops 1. Well, obviously you were younger because of course you get what I mean. You were much younger around that time. You were probably like like me at least. I was 10 years old when Black Ops 1 came out. Therefore, I had no worries. I had absolutely no worries in my life. All I did was sit down and play Black Ops 1 all day sometimes. It was a great time, nothing to worry about. But now I gotta worry about going to work. I gotta worry about, my YouTube channel. I gotta worry about school, like college, a lot more things to worry about, a lot more social, expectations around with other people, my friends and family and such. I have a lot more obligations to handle. So I have less time to sit down, play video games without any worry in my mind. I'm more focused on making content for my channel. It's rare when I can just sit down and play video games for fun without worrying about something that I have to do in a few hours. So yes, I would agree. I probably have way more fun in like the older CODs than I do in the newer ones. But I don't think that's because of the game's fault at all. I kind of got off tangent there, but I do that a lot, and I think you guys sometimes like it because some people like ranting videos, and I do ranting videos a lot. But I want to just talk about Black Ops 4 and Cold War Zombies now because they're pretty recent games, right? So it's not like you're comparing Cold War to a really classic COD or something like that. You're comparing it to a really recent one. Let's just look at these games as a whole. Now, Black Ops 4 obviously has had a way more DLC than Cold War, so to make it fair, I'm only going to be talking about Black Ops 4 3 months after launch compared to Cold War today, because it's almost 3 months after launch, so I'm just kind of rounding it to 3 months or 2.5 months, whatever. Black Ops 4, at about 2.5 months after launch, had a total of 5 maps in the game. Right now, Cold War only has 1 map plus Dead Ops Arcade 3 if you count that as a map. And then, of course, you had the Onslaught maps, but I don't count those because PlayStation's the only people who get them, so why should I count it? I honestly don't even want to bother counting it because a lot of players like myself don't get to play it. I do own a PlayStation 4, but I do not play it because it's just in another part of the house, and I just don't even feel like bothering. I tend to play on my Xbox Series X, and I enjoy playing on it, so I'm just not going to play Onslaught. But I've been told by a lot of people it's not even that good, so it's not like I'm missing out on much. But quantity isn't everything, I know. We're going to get into quality after this, but let's just talk about quantities first. Black Ops 4 also had 2 modes for each map. You can play Rush mode or just the regular survival mode, which is the norm that we're used to. You had custom mutations, which, again, wasn't a perfect system, but it's better to have it than not have it at all. You had difficulty changers, where you can change the difficulty. You can make it casual, you can make it hardcore, you can make it like realistic mode, which was really cool. You had 4 Easter egg quests in total with 4 boss fights, because of course there's 5 maps. The only map that didn't have an Easter egg, like a good actual Easter egg, was Classified. Obviously they had the Project Scatty side Easter egg, which was kind of an Easter egg, but not really. It was really short. And of course you had the round 150 thing, but that was just to get the cutscene. That's not really an Easter egg. And in terms of wonder weapons, you had the Death of Orion, the Magma Gat, Acid Gat, the 4 Kraken variants, the Winter's Howl, and the Alistair's Annihilator. Plus, I guess if you count that crossbow that was on Dead of the Night, you can count that crossbow that was on Dead of the Night. Cold War, let's talk about that stuff. So like I said, there's 1 map plus Dead Ops Arcade 3. They have cranked mode, which is cool. It's okay, you know, whatever. You have Jingle Hells, which they only had for a little bit. It was a limited time thing, and it's not available anymore, so I don't know if it's even worth counting, and it was kind of the stupidest mode I've ever played, but whatever. It's a nice little touch, but I feel like they could have made it so much better if they just let you do the Easter egg or let you do some other stuff, because it was just really plain the way it was. Cold War has no custom mutations, no difficulty changers. There's only 1 Easter egg because of the 1 map. There's no boss fight, and it's a very short Easter egg, low content. There's, of course, in terms of wonder weapons, you have the 4 Shockwave variants. And in terms of just content between the maps themselves, just think about how much little things you can do on 9, Voyage of Despair, Blood of the Dead, Classified, and Dead of the Night compared to what you can do on D Machine. There is so much more to do in those Black Ops 4 maps. I could never get bored of them. There's a lot of side quests. There's a lot of mini things you can do, a lot of different things you can go for. There's also, let's talk about perks. Black Ops 4 has like 15 perks at this point in the life cycle. At the end of it, they had 18 total perks. Cold War has 6. In terms of guns, that's the one thing I think Cold War does beat out Black Ops 4 in terms of quantity, because there's a lot of the different variants and such. And Black Ops 4 didn't have nearly as many. And of course, there's also the attachments. Cold War had a lot more attachments, but that's about it, really. And the attachment system works widely different. Cold War, you can only put the attachments on 1 weapon that you start with, and the rest of the attachments you can get on other guns are randomized, which some people like that system. I'm not really crazy about it, but I don't think it really matters either way, to be completely honest. I will agree, as I said before earlier in the video, the Cold War mechanics are much better than Black Ops 4's mechanics, but I do not think that mechanics make up the entirety of the game like some people make it out to be. I hear a lot of people saying stuff like Black Ops 4's maps are really good, but the mechanics make the maps shit. Now, I can agree that the mechanics, some of the mechanics, hold the maps down a little bit, but they don't automatically make them bad. I think that's a little bit of a stretch. And when we talk about the mechanics, a lot of the mechanics aren't even that bad. They're just different, you know? The perk system, I've said this many times, I don't think it's objectively, or I don't even see how it can be construed as a terrible system. It's just very different. There's things about it I don't like, but all of those things come down to the fact that it's different than what we're used to, therefore I don't like it. If it was originally like how it was in Black Ops 4, the perk system was originally always like that back when World at War came out, we would not have a single issue with it, because it doesn't make the gameplay any worse. It just takes away some of the personality of the perk machines themselves. You might be saying, oh, well, it's because I want to use whatever perks I want. I don't want to be forced to have the same 4 perks on the map at once. I'd like to be able to, get whatever perks I want. Well, that's why they have secret sauce. So you put secret sauce on, honestly, you can put them on all 4 of your perks if you want to. Yes, you might have to keep holding X until you get what you want, but you can usually get what you want, to be honest. It's the same as like the Wonder Fizz machine in previous games, so it's not really like it's that big of a deal. And of course, some of the maps have ways to get more than 4 perks through different side quests as well, so that allows you to get other perks and other means. It's just the personality of the perk machines are kind of taken away. You don't get those classic jingles, and you don't get those cool looking machines. So I do prefer having the perk system from Cold War, but of course I would still like to have a decent amount of perks, and I think only having 6 perks is kind of meh. In Cold War, of course, we're going to get more, but like I'm saying, this is comparing Black Ops 4 at the same point in the life cycle as what Cold War is at right this moment. And in the point system, I also am not a big fan of in Black Ops 4, but it's actually the same in Cold War, kind of the similar point system. I don't know if it's exactly the same, but they have the same sort of idea to it, where you're not getting points for shooting the zombies, you're getting points for actually killing the zombies. And I don't love that in Black Ops 4, but I don't really think it matters much in Cold War, because in Cold War, all the guns are kind of balanced more properly. Obviously, Black Ops 4, the guns aren't very balanced, therefore it makes it so guns like SMGs aren't really useful at all, because you're not gonna get more points or anything from killing them. So what's the point? You might as well just use a shotgun or a wonder weapon. You'll get the same amount of points as you would killing them with an SMG. So I get why people wouldn't like systems that are within, of course, Black Ops Cold War, or Black Ops 4 compared to Black Ops Cold War. I can get that, but I don't think it ruins the experience. And the zombie AI, how it works, they're not that different compared to other zombie modes. I know the pathing of them is a little bit different, how like training works and such, but it wasn't too overly different to the point where it was, unbearable. The HUD, I didn't love either, but it's a goddamn HUD. It's a HUD. Is it really gonna ruin your entire experience because the HUD takes up too much of the screen? Oh, boo-hoo. That's what I gotta say about people who literally call the game ass because of the HUD. Okay, all right. You can not like the HUD all you want, but you're gonna hate the whole mode because of it? I don't know about that. And the HUD in Cold War, I actually didn't love at first. I thought the minimap was a weird choice, but I got used to it, and I said, you know what? It's not that bad at all. It's actually a fine HUD. And I think a lot of other people would agree with me on that, but for some reason Black Ops 4's HUD people cannot get over. I got over it pretty quickly. I hated it at launch. I was so against the HUD, but I got over it and I said, you know what? Does it really matter? Does it affect the gameplay? No, it does not affect the gameplay at all. It just is a little bit distracting when you're trying to play. Other than that, I can't think of a single other Black Ops 4 mechanic that was so overly terrible that it ruined the experience for anyone. A lot of the features within the game, yes, I wish they worked a little bit better. I wish there was less bugs and glitches, but Cold War has been having plenty of bugs and glitches too. And let's look at the most important thing. I'm going to finish off the video looking at what I think is the most important thing about zombies, and I still think this is the most important thing. Ever since like Shadows of Evil and Horizon, this is when I think Easter eggs became the most important thing to zombies. And to me, it's like something that make or breaks maps now. If you don't have a good Easter egg on a map, it's gonna hurt the map tremendously, especially if there isn't much else keeping the map intact. Like Atmosphere, for example. A Voyage of Despair's Easter egg, I don't really love that much. I think it's kind of meh. But I love the atmosphere of Voyage of Despair, so that map actually gets more credit, in my opinion. That map gets more credit just for the atmosphere alone. But D Machine, it's kind of a boring place. I'm sorry. I really think the map is just a boring location. I don't know. It's not an exciting place for me to be at. So, yeah. The Easter egg in D Machine is incredibly different than an Easter egg like Blood of the Dead or Voyage of Despair. I think Blood of the Dead's Easter egg is not good, and I also think D Machine's Easter egg is not good, but they're not the same type of not good, right? Blood of the Dead's Easter egg is overly complicated and a bit tedious in many different ways, and it's not very fun to replay over and over again. I would actually have no anticipation to ever want to redo the Easter egg again and again. D Machine's, on the other hand, is overly simplistic, whereas there isn't much value to it, there isn't much depth to it, so even a headless chicken could complete this Easter egg without much struggle, without using even their brain for a second. You don't need any thought in this Easter egg, you just do it. It's pretty simple. Now, some may love a simplistic Easter egg, some may love a complicated Easter egg. For me, you need to find a balance between the both. I want it to be complicated enough to the point where it's replayable and you can actually have some thought-provoking discussion in how to do better on the Easter egg and do it more efficiently, where even when you're completing it for the first time, you actually have to think about it, like puzzle steps or logic things, stuff that you actually have to use your brain for, right? But a map like D Machine, I don't feel like I'm using that at all. You have to find a balance though, because you also don't want it to be too tedious. You don't want these steps to be annoying and obnoxious to do it. I made a video recently talking about what makes an Easter egg good, so definitely go check out that video if you'd like to see what I think actually makes an Easter egg good or bad. And like I said, you have to find a balance between being tedious and being too simple. Complicated isn't always a bad thing, especially when it's an Easter egg, because an Easter egg is already supposed to be for the hardcore people. And I get what they're trying to do here. They're trying to make it more casual friendly. Well, why not do what World War II did for the Final Reich? Have a casual and a hardcore Easter egg. So you give the two sides, the best of both worlds. If you want to do the casual one, those are for the people who don't really want to think much when they're playing zombies. They just want to do the Easter egg and they want to get the exfil done and get the achievement. Let them do that. But for the hardcore people, make it harder. Make there more steps to it. Make there some actual logical steps put into the quest. Something that I actually have to think when doing it. Not running around the map, holding X on a tank 3 times and tossing a grenade at the top of the tank and watching it explode the thing, and then carrying a bomb to the basement, and then just going in a room and protecting Orlov for 3 minutes without an actual good boss fight with an actual boss. I just think it could be so much better. Black Ops 4's Easter eggs, like I said, Voyage and Blood that I don't love. Classified didn't really have one, but Take 9 and Dead the Night, both Easter eggs I think are incredible. I think 9's Easter egg is one of the best we've ever had. There's so much thought behind it, but it's also not overly complicated. In the beginning steps, I don't like how 9's Easter egg artificially extends the game by making you wait rounds for certain things, but if you learn the spawns and you learn exactly where the zombies are going to be coming every single round, you can find some really efficient ways of doing it much faster. And there's so much to the later steps as well. The Danu step, not so much. You're kind of just going in there and shooting at these little thingies and on the wall, these little red balls or whatever. That's whatever. But the Ra step now, you have these symbols flashing on this pillar, and you have to memorize the symbols in comparison to the boss zombies. Now, a lot of people will probably use a cheat sheet for this because they don't want to memorize the exact symbols, but if you're a hardcore player, you can actually memorize them, and you know exactly which one goes in which order, and you have to kill the specific boss in the specific order that the pillar shows. That's cool. Then the next step, you have to go downstairs, shoot these things, and then go back upstairs and get kills with dead wire in this like arena area around the different areas. So this is an action step. As I was saying before, there's different types of Easter egg steps. There's fetch quests, there's action steps, and there's puzzle steps. This would be an action step, a fun one as well. You go around, you just have to kill as many zombies in these electric areas, and then you get these cool little part of the Easter egg where you get to use your specialist weapons for full power and you don't run out of them. You just go around killing these gladiators for like 2 minutes. I mean, that's a fun ass part of the Easter egg. And then you get to the boss fight eventually, you fight 2 giant elephants. I mean, come on, how cool is that? In a giant Roman Colosseum against 2 elephants. Dead of the Night, you fight a gigantic werewolf. Where was the fun in D Machine's Easter egg? Where was the interest? Where was the, you know what? That's all I gotta say for this video. I think you guys get my point. If I was to currently rank Cold War zombies compared to all the other zombie modes, I actually put a list on my Twitter because this whole video was inspired by Noah J posting his ranking on Twitter, and it was actually kind of an interesting ranking because it was like nostalgia free, he said. So he had World of War really low, and of course he had Cold War though really high. And I don't really get how Cold War is so high. I'm assuming he was just basing it on the mechanics, but we've only had one map, so it's kind of hard to tell what this mode's going to be like in the future. And I think Firebase Z is really going to be so important to the future of this game, because if this map has the same amount of content as D Machine or less, Cold War Zombies is gonna fail. I'm just gonna say it straight up. It's gonna fail. It needs more content than what D Machine has, and I'm just really hoping to God it does. It could still be a really good map with not much content for sure, but it needs that replay value, because right now D Machine does not have that. People are only playing D Machine so they can get their challenges done for their camos. Let's be real here. How many people are actually still playing D Machine because they find it to be an entertaining map that has a lot of fun experiences to it and such? I just don't see it. I don't see it. If I was to rank D Machine, I'd rank it in like the 20s or something for a zombie map ranking. It's not that high, right? Cold War, I would put it like number 6 out of the 9 zombie modes we had. Number 6. I think it's better than like World at War, World War II, and Advanced Warfare, but I can't justify putting it higher than any other zombies mode. I just can't. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.